7 years ago, I was living in Gainesville, Georgia, and I brought my mom to live with us. And 3 days after she arrived, we took her to the hospital. A couple of days later, we found out that she had cancer on her brain. And I immediately went to the Social Security office to ask for her benefits for all the medical bills that we knew will come. And because she was a terminal case, the people there told us, Pastor, don't worry, in 1 or 2 weeks we will have an answer. But 1 week passed by, and 2 weeks, and 3 weeks, and 4 weeks. And one day I was kind of desperate, and I went to the Social Security office. And I asked to talk to a manager, and she welcomed me in her office, and she said, let me check your records. And then she came 10 minutes later and told me, Pastor, we are so sorry we didn't have an answer for you, but when a case is reopened, it takes a little bit longer. And I just looked at her and I told her, what are you talking about that our case is reopened? And then she told me, well, 2 years ago, your mother applied for this benefit because she had cancer on her brain.
Oh, man.
I remember walking to the parking lot and trying to put the key in the door of my car, and I remember falling on the floor and screaming like a baby. Because I just found out that for 2 years, my mom lived with 4 cancer tumors on her brain, and she didn't say anything to anybody. I don't know if you're like me, but there are moments in life that we don't know what to do. And I remember when I fell on the floor and I screamed like a little boy, asking God so many things. Because, this is the person that I love the most in my life. How she can hide from us for 2 years. And she was dying. I really didn't know what to do, and that's why exactly I want to talk to you today, my fellow Toastmasters, about what to do when you don't know what to do. Probably you didn't have exactly the same experience as me, but probably you were one of those that after 10, 15 years, 20 years working in a company, one day they welcome you one morning telling you, we don't need you anymore. We will release your future. Or you're one of those that at some point suffer a big struggle financially and you don't have the means to not even buy groceries. Or probably you know somebody who's close to you and they're about to leave and there's nothing to do. You see, no matter how much money you have in your bank, no matter how much education you have, we will struggle one day with the reality that we will be in front of a situation where we don't know what to do. The sad part is that most of us, our reaction is very, very difficult. Because our reaction is to scream, or to get depressed, or to run from the situation. But you know what? The Bible tells us exactly what God expects us to do when we don't know what to do. And one of the things that I love about the Bible is that it always present people as they are. You know, we have somebody like Paul who was a great apostle who was a murderer. And we have somebody like Noah who was a faithful man, but he was a drunk. And we have others, and the Bible never hides from us who they really are. But the Bible is very clear about the expectations God has for each of one of us. In 2 Chronicles chapter 20, we have the story of this king of Judah, named Jehoshaphat. And one day he was excited, everything was wonderful, and a messenger came into his presence. And that's verse 2 of the chapter. And the messenger said, you know what? 3 different groups of people, 3 different tribes, 3 different armies are coming to attack you. And when they say attack you, you know what is the meaning of that. It's not only to him, but to the whole kingdom. And it's just like having the terminal illness with the lack of resources and being jobless at the same time. My grandmother used to say, you know, for poor people, everything comes together. Problems just hang out together and they walk into your life together, right? And that's exactly what happened to this king. But interesting enough, Jehoshaphat decided to do something kind of different to our normal reaction. He decided to pray to the Lord. He decided to pray. He was pretty desperate. He knew that he will die for sure, and all his people. And he decided to pray. But in his prayer, he appeals to God. And he decided to include 3 questions in his prayer. 3 rhetorical questions that allow us to understand the mindset of those who believe in God and know what to do when everybody else don't know what to do. And in verse 6, he asked the first question in this prayer. And he said, are you not God? And basically what Jehoshaphat was saying is this: I know who you are. You are the mighty, powerful God that through your word, you did everything. I know who you are. I know the wonderful and amazing things that come out of your hand. I know that you're holy and mighty and great. I know who you are. And then in verse 7, he brings the second question. And he asks this: did you not? Did you not? And he started to count from verse 7 to verse 11 all the amazing things God did for his people. You know, you took my grandpa and my grandma and you crossed them through the Red Sea and then the Jordan, and then you deliver them, and then you did this and this and this and this. And what Jehoshaphat was saying was, number 1, I know who you are, but number 2, I know the things you have done. You know, I was sharing a few minutes before the meeting that sometimes we have this selective, partial amnesia about God. 5 years ago, we were struggling with things, and God, at the right time, put his hand upon us and deliver us from the situation. And today we are in a similar spot, and we react exactly the same as 5 years ago, like God had done nothing for us. We don't remember. But Jehoshaphat brings a different approach because he knows God. And he said, I know who you are, and I know the wonderful things you have done. And then in verse 12, he asked the third question. He said, will you not do something about this? And basically what Jehoshaphat is saying is this: can you do it again? Can you do it again? And that's his prayer. His prayer is, God, I know who you are. I know the wonderful things you have done. Could you please do it again? In verse 15, God raised a prophet and tells him, hey, do not be afraid. Hey, relax. This is not your battle, it's mine. And in verse 20, all these people rose into a mountain and they watched the place where all these 3 armies kill each other. And they were delivered from from that attack, and God delivered them and gave them his protection. And you know what? That sounds like a very foreign idea for some people, but it's so real for those who believe in the Lord. It is so real to know that we can come confidently to him and tell him, God, I'm in a huge problem and I don't know what to do, but I know 3 things. I know who you are. I know the wonderful things you have done. Could you please do it again? You know, that evening when I went back to the hospital. I was so angry with my mom. And that was the night that when I saw her, everything changed. And I prayed with her, and you know this, she became a believer that evening. You know why? Because I thought she needed to be healed. And I find out in that prayer that she needed to be saved. You see, our solution could be one, but God's solution is perfect. And I don't know where you are today in your life, but I know one simple thing. If you don't know what to do, God tell us what to do. Number one, pray to Him and tell Him, I know who you are. I know the wonderful things you have done. God, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Thank you.